Mr. Quinn, I apologize in advance for another question, but is there anything you can tell us about the Quinn method of acting? How you... I didn't apologize enough, did I?
Well, well, I think it's... I tell you, and I hope that my two cohorts will forgive me, because I think it's very presumptuous for an actor to talk about his method of acting. All I can say is that years ago, I took to heart Mr. Shakespeare's line, "To be or not to be," and I just decided it was much more interesting and much more exciting to be than not to be. And I just thought that it was a great privilege not to just merely play the superficial side of the character, but to really become deeply involved. And the wonderful luxury it was to live all these various lives. I feel that I'm really very privileged person to have lived as Zorba, as Gauguin, if you will forgive me, as the Pope, as the character in the last picture I just finished, Secret of Santa Victoria. But I really enjoy being these other people. I enjoyed being Martin Rivera in Requiem for a Heavyweight. And I really, through that, I've learned so much about other people. It isn't what I brought to the character itself, but I often ask the character, and I guess it's almost a form of lending yourself and allowing the character to speak through you. I know that I've had some amazing experiences with this, because, for instance, when I was playing Gauguin, sitting in the same spot where he had painted, and I had the painting in front of me, and there I was, made up as Gauguin, and I felt that there was something lacking. I couldn't really get up to the canvas, and I you know, just merely holding a brush and dipping it into the paint, and I actually felt that I felt that Gauguin himself, who had been there many years before, actually came and sat beside me and helped me with the scene. I know that sounds rather strange, but I've had many experiences of this sort, and the last time I had an equal experience was when I was playing the character in Lawrence of Arabia. I was in the middle of the desert, and I was playing Aoud al-Butai, the leader of all these people, the Arabs, and I'm sorry, Woody.
Why do you apologize? Was Woody up for the role?
I think Woody knows. But anyway, I loved the character very much, and I felt that the character, in a certain sense, took over, and I was very grateful, because a character can tell you much more about himself than you can imagine.
That must be, that to me would be the thrill of being an actor, would be that for some what's his name, Arthur Miller, pardon me, Mr. Miller, said about Lee J. Cobb that there was a moment in rehearsal of Death of a Salesman when he suddenly couldn't get at the part at all. He was having a terrible time. He wanted to be fired and all sorts of things. And finally, he said one day in a rehearsal hall, something came over Mr. Cobb, and he cast a shadow that was not his own. And from that day on, he was Willie Loman. And it gives you a goose pimples to think of that.
Good acting is shouting.
Oh, it's shouting, is it? Well, that's another way of saying what Arthur Miller said.
That's the best method. You get out there and just shout. As long as they hear you, that's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, we're getting various opinions here, and I think that's good. Do we have to pause again? Gee, there are a lot of those, aren't there? We'll be back, though. Oh, and we have a minute?
As a matter of fact...
A minute. We have a moment.
As a matter of fact, probably one of the greatest piece of advice given to an actor was by George Bernard Shaw, who said, "Open your mouth and get out of the way."
There was a fight reported when you were making Santa Vittoria. There was one scene with you and Anna Magnani where there was a certain amount of Band-Aids required at the end of the scene.
She made the mistake of kicking me and broke her leg.
It's like kicking Mount Rushmore or something. I think anyone would know that would break his leg. We'll be back after this message.